Hey guys, so I'm Alex and today we are going to be talking about Nicola Yoon's The Sun is Also a Star, and I'm going to be going over pages 43 through 90 today. So as always, we're going to start off with a brief summary so that way we know what's going on. And yeah, so this portion of the book starts off, Natasha and Daniel have not met yet. That happens in this part, so that's an important part of the book because that's what the book is about. So in this chapter we see that Daniel's on his train to go get his hair cut for his all-important Yale interview, and the conductor on the train, when it makes it stop, says, "Go out and find God today." And Daniel's like, it's my last day of freedom and this guy's telling me to go find God. So instead of going to his hair appointment, he goes out and he looks for signs, for things. He's looking for something to, tell him what to do, or something, to just help him find God. And so you also get to look about the side character, about the conductor, and why he told everyone on this train. And so that happened here, and this is where we see him meet Natasha. He sees her having a nice jam session out on the streets of New York, and he's like, I'm gonna follow her, because that's not stalkerish at all. So he follows her into this record store that she goes into because she's cool, and she's going into a record store because she loves music. And so she goes into the record store. She meets up with her ex. His name's Rob, a real great name. And his new girlfriend's attempting to shoplift or whatever. And Daniel comes over and's like, yikes, are you gonna say something about that? And Natasha's like, not gonna bother with it. And Rob and his new girl end up getting caught. Daniel's introduces himself to Natasha, and he just kind of starts following her around. And at first Natasha's like, please just go away, don't, I have something important to do today. But eventually Daniel convinces her to go have coffee with him. So they go into a coffee shop, they start talking, and Daniel brings up this scientific study because he's learned that Natasha likes science. She likes hard facts. You start to see how Natasha's kind of a realist in this chapter. And so he brings up this scientific study about how they got people to fall in love with each other within a day by just asking these questions. I think it's a series of 40-ish questions, 50 questions, and then they stare into each other's eyes for 4 minutes. Just like that, except for 4 minutes. It's kind of awkward. And he's like, let's do this, because he's learned that she likes science and facts. So they end up doing that, and they also bring up the topic of the multiverse. So it's a confusing concept, but basically the multiverse that Natasha brings up and that she's kind of fixated on, obsessed with, is that there are multiple universes, each with a different outcome to someone's life. So it's that the current universe splits into multiple universes, and that means for every choice you make, an infinite number of universes exist in which you make a different choice. And so it kind of shows, it's an introduction to kind of the theme of the book that I found, that along with all the side characters and everything throughout the book, Nicola Yoon brings up side characters. We've already met Irene. We love Irene. She plays a bigger role in the book down the road, but we learn about how she caused Natasha to be late for her meeting. And later in the book, Natasha brings up how if Irene hadn't made her late for her meeting, she would have never had to go to the attorney, to someone else's office, some attorney's office, and she would have never met Daniel. And so the multiverse is kind of an introduction to the theme of everything kind of happens for a reason, and that's a lot of what this book's about. And that's a lot of what Daniel brings up, and he's like, everything happens for a reason. And we kind of, right here, start to see the meshing of Daniel and Natasha's perspectives on the world, and how Daniel sees fate and like destiny and all these things, and how everything happens for a reason, and Natasha sees things from more of a scientific point of view, like with the multiverse, of how there are so many different outcomes to every decision you make. And as the book goes on, she was realizing how all these different outcomes and all these different events and choices, and how all these people have impacted their day, and how it led to her meeting Daniel and eventually spending all this time with him and stuff. And so, yeah, I felt this chapter was a good introduction to kind of the theme of the book. It kind of introduced and gave a general idea of what the book's about. It developed the characters a little bit. You see how Natasha's more of a realist. She's down to earth. She's very scientifically based. She doesn't really do anything that's not factual, like proven. And Daniel's more, well, he's a poet and a writer, and he's very creative. He's very into the ideas of fate and destiny. And so you see the clash and the differences in between them. And yeah, so it's a good start for character development. And yeah, so. And for this chapter, I also want to make a small little prediction, just going off of the prediction that I made last time, and I just want to make a short little prediction of what I think is going to happen in the book. So I have read one of Nicola Yoon's books before. I read the book Everything, Everything, and the book, the ending to Everything and Everything was kind of, or at least in the book, I haven't seen the movie, but in the book at least, it was kind of underwhelming to me. I'm not going to say the ending in case anyone wants to read it or will scream at me if I tell them how it ends, but it's an underwhelming ending, and it's kind of an ending that, like, you really don't see coming, or at least I didn't. So I feel that here we're gonna see Natasha end up getting deported, because that's something that, while there's a romance book and you would expect, you'd be like, oh, of course, you know, she has to be able to stay, there's gonna be something that happens, you know, she's gonna be like, yes, and she's gonna be able to stay. But knowing the author, I'm gonna say she ends up getting deported, and then something happens and they meet up later down the road, but they do go their separate ways at some point. Now, how they get from here and how she gets to not being deported, I don't know. My guess would be that she just ends up, like, something happens. She's not able to stay in the country. I mean, she's got a day left, and there's not much she can do. So, yeah, that's my prediction. And then as for Daniel, I feel that after his day with Natasha, I feel like they're gonna stay together for the whole day, because that's the entire book. I feel like that's kind of the whole point of the book. I feel that after he spends the day with Natasha, he's gonna realize how important his dreams are. After he preaches it to Natasha, he's like, oh, follow your dreams. You know, he's like, do what you want. Because in this chapter, we also see them talk about what they want to be when they grow up. And she's like, I want to be a research data analysis. He's like, well, do you want to be that? And she's like, no, but it's practical. And so he talks about following your dreams. So I feel that he is going to end up not going to Yale because he doesn't want to. And he's going to end up being a poet, and he's going to do what he wants to do. And he's eventually going to meet up with Natasha later down the road. And from there, they'll get together. Yeah, so that's my predictions for this chapter. That's this section of the book. Yeah. Bye.